What's up, everybody? This is Kyore and Kate from Scriptly Adapted.
We're back.
We are not in our home. Well, we are in our home, but we're not in our
Again.
studio home bringing you that show that we usually do, Scriptly Adapted. But it's us here.
Yeah.
We're going to do it now.
As good as it's going to get, guys.
You have joined us. We've talked about some movies, some TV that we've watched in the past few weeks of quarantine apocalypse 2020. If you watch Netflix, if you've gone on Netflix, you've seen that they've inundated us with a bunch of pandemic virus story. There's Contagion, side effects, Outbreak with the little monkey. I had no idea that.
Don't watch it. Don't watch any of it.
I forgot that movie was still out there. It was good. It was actually pretty good. But we're here to bring you some hits, some things to watch. Last week I posted about Black AF, which got some interesting feedback. Some people found that it wasn't a great representation of black families, and some thought it was funny and it was an extension of Blackish, just the TVMA version. To each his own. Listen, we just tell you what we like, and you can crap on it if you want.
And even what we don't like.
Yeah.
It's here. We've watched it. This is our opinion. Also, as Kenya Barris as an artist, I'm sure he likes getting different types of feedback because Kenya Barris is at a level where he can do what he wants
and not give a damn.
Yeah.
But it's too. It's just listen. He's Kenya Barris, and in one of his episodes, actually, if you watch the show, he talks about getting honest feedback about black art, which
that was actually probably one of the best, most real episodes.
The most real episode you'll probably get to watch. But enough of that.
Yeah.
We're here this week to
recap
bring you what we're watching this week. So Kate, what we got? What are we watching?
Well, first we decided to try out Defending Jacob, which is on Apple TV Plus, for those of you that have indulged in that medium.
Or forgot that it even exists. Some people have forgot Apple Plus exists.
Yeah, if you have the new Apple TV, it's a feature with that. But this is starring Chris Evans, Michelle Dockery, who is cranking it out, by the way. I mean, she is doing a lot. I love her from Downton Abbey. Most of you have seen that show. If you have not, shame on you. I'm not judging. But Michelle Dockery is really, she's coming to her own.
Yeah.
She played one of the lead characters in Downton Abbey, Mary, one of the daughters. And from there, her career has kind of catapulted and snowballed. She was in The Gentleman with Matthew McConaughey, which we touched on last time. And she plays Jacob's mom in this with an American accent, which actually, not too bad.
It works.
The first couple episodes, I told Kyore, I think she's concentrating on perfecting the accent a little too much so that the character's kind of lost. But as the episodes have gone on, you can tell she's getting more comfortable. Her facial expressions are very, very good.
Yeah. She's good.
Yeah, I mean, she's decent. The show really centers around a young boy who gets caught up amidst trying to solve a murder of his classmate. Right. And he eventually becomes a main suspect. So Chris Evans is his father, and he's a lawyer. And it's really conflict, I think, within Chris Evans' character, Andy. I'm a lawyer, this is what I do, but now I have to be a father, but I still have to be a lawyer, so I think it's a conflict with him. His character's a very round character.
It's a very interesting character.
Yeah.
It to me, I think this is episode 5, they premiered episode 5 on Friday. They do one episode at a time to make it feel like a weekly series versus just throwing all the episodes.
Binge the whole thing.
Listen, I am really enjoying this show.
Yeah.
It is in tone. It is somber and sad and dramatic and thrillerish at the same time.
Suspense,
definitely suspense. Yep. Chris Evans, I don't think I've seen Chris Evans in anything since
The Avengers.
So,
rest in peace,
yeah, right. So, did you say Aquaman?
Captain America.
Oh, Captain. Okay, jeez. You see a really interesting difference between the parents. Michelle Dockery's character.
Yes.
as a mother, has this instinct that she knows her kid.
Yeah, he's an awkward teen, but the way some things are portrayed, it's like it plants that doubt in your head, like, oh man, did he do it? Did he really do it? And it's like, then all of a sudden you're able to relate to her because she's thinking the same thing.
Chris Evans is
he's a ride or die
trying to defend his son. It's the lawyer and father in him, but Michelle Dockery's character is the mother who has this instinct that she knows her kid, and she knows that there could be something violently wrong with him in a way that they need to explore. So Defending Jacob, listen, one of the best shows I'm watching right now.
It's a complex show. It's very, very well acted. It's very, very well shot. It kind of has a gray, almost like blue light to it while you're filming. And I think, you know, with certain tones and contexts of shows, that works.
Yes.
You know, I know David Fincher, who is a well-known director, usually films in like the sepia brownish tone.
Yes, exactly.
And it
Good
really,
point.
thanks.
Nice.
See, I
Nice
know my
film
stuff,
knowledge.
guys.
That's why I married her. Yes, yes. It sets the emotional tone visually.
And that was good.
Yeah, that was good too.
That was really good. We're on a roll today.
Sets the emotional tone visually.
I don't think it was that good where you have to like...
I had to say it one more time.
I get it. It's fine. But you guys should check it out, Defending Jacob. We've now spent 7 minutes and 30 seconds talking about this film. So on the show. So obviously you need to check it out.
So what else? What do we...
So we also checked out Upgrade.
Which is a film.
Yeah, it's
2018.
a film. Very well done. You can go into it a little bit. I did fall asleep, so...
So I did a post on the Upgrade. Check that out on our Scriptly Adapted Instagram. Upgrade 2018. I'm just late to the party. I've heard a lot of things about this film. Just never watched it. Watched finally, and it blew my mind as far as the cinematography and the fight sequences were concerned. Really well filmed. From the director who did the new Invisible Man.
Which was also
which,
great.
if you watched that film and the choreography, not choreography, but the cinematography with the asylum/hospital scene, you'll understand and see how this director uses the camera and effects and things like that.
Very almost like Matrix-y.
Matrix-y,
like
robotic kind of movement.
You know.
Just really, really well done. I enjoyed it. Really interesting story.
It was interesting story. You know, brief synopsis about a guy. It's very interesting because the story kind of takes place in this very high-tech world.
Right.
Far, far in the future. But the main character is still connected to being earthy almost. Does a lot of things. And it's very interesting the way the film opens because, and it shows that dichotomy because he's maybe a mechanic, but he's fixing this old school car in his garage. And, you know, he's getting his hands dirty and he's fixing this car that you drive. But his wife is on her way home from work in a car that drives itself. And so you're able to see the contrast and the stark difference between both of these things. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, let's
but it's very quirky and there was a lot of like dark comedy in it. Unfortunately, we watched it at a very late hour, so I fell asleep.
She fell asleep.
I didn't finish it.
I finished it.
But I gave it all I had. You know, I got pretty far.
Can't watch movies past 8.
I woke up at the end. I got the gist. I rooted for him.
Again,
it was done.
Definitely a film to watch.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It was very good.
It's a fun movie. It's an hour and 39 minutes, not too long.
No.
It's a quick watch, so definitely
I may
something
go back.
it's something to definitely look at.
Yeah.
What are you watching?
Well, guys, I finally did it. I finished Little Fires Everywhere. I have to say, hated all the characters equally.
Yeah, you know,
they were all kind of
There was
douchey.
no character likable in that show.
No, not at all. But you get finally an insight into Kerry Washington's character, Mia Warren, and you kind of understand what she's been through and why she is the way she is. But the one episode that was kind of like that closed the chasm and I think kind of brought everything together, focused on her character as a young girl and Reese Witherspoon's character, Elena, as a young girl. And so you get to see who they are as people and what has really cemented them as human beings. So that was the turning point for me. And that watching that episode, I was like, wow, okay, now I get it. Everything makes sense. There was a lot of symbolism, a lot of topics like race, our judicial system, and how unfair it is. You know, there were a lot of topics that you touched on, adoption, and to know that you had 2 female co-producers to do this show is extremely important, especially one of them being a woman of color. So I think it was a very good show. Both of them were great in it. I mean, Reese Witherspoon, there was one scene where she like screamed her head off and I was like, whoa, okay, Reese, now I see the Oscar winner in ya. Good job. Like, you know, it was good. Second, I finally... 6-7 months later, people finally watched the Downton Movie Abbey.
Downton Movie Abbey.
Yeah.
We're not drinking.
That's how much TV I've watched in the last 6 weeks.
We are not drinking.
Downton Abbey movie that premiered on my birthday last year. But it was, you know, I gave it, listen, Downton Abbey, I fought it for a long time. And my mom is a huge fan, was like, oh, and I was surprised. My mom doesn't typically like period pieces like that, but she swore by it. I was like, yeah, whatever. And as per usual, Mother was right, because I checked it out. This was, I think, in October, or right before the holidays. I literally binged the entire series in like 3 weeks. That's how good it was. You get connected to the characters. I mean, it was so well done. Julian Fellows, who wrote this series, is brilliant. Yeah. And it was so good. It had just the right amount of drama, just the right amount of emotion. The theme music caught you. The cinematography was gorgeous.
I'll give you that. The cinematography is gorgeous.
It was just beautiful to watch, and it was a great story. And so they came out with a movie in September of last year, and it was a great pickup from where they left off. It's basically just telling you about how Downton Abbey is having a visit of the Queen and King at that time, which was King George V in 1927, and how, you know, the drama that may ensue. It was fun. It was cute. I enjoyed it. Apparently, there's talks of them doing another one.
Another what? Movie?
Well, yeah, not another show.
What more can you... Listen,
you could go on for a long time.
It looks like a snooze fest. I have no interest, but visually it's beautiful, the cinematography.
Julian, did you hear what he said?
Sorry. It's not for everybody.
Check it out.
I don't know. Not my favorite.
You'll thank me.
But I'm...
Won tons of awards.
I'm watching The Last Dance, which is the Chicago Bull documentary.
Actually, it's very good.
Yeah, I'm on episode...
What makes it so good?
I think I'm on episode 4 or 5. What makes it so good is that you see a real in-depth look into this team that was the Golden State Warriors of the 90s. They won multiple championships. They had all-stars. They had Hall of Famers on the team. It's just a great look to see how that group of men functioned. Right? Because you see them on court and you don't know if they're truly friends, if they truly like each other, if they gel. But watching this, they were a brotherhood that was after history and after championships. They understood each other.
Right.
You know, you hear Michael Jordan talk finally in depth about stuff, because we don't usually get depth from Jordan, but we got depth. I wonder how long it
took him to agree to do that.
We get depth from Pippen, Rodman, Phil Jackson. I mean, you get to hear these guys and just get an inside look at the last run they had, which they ended up winning a title for.
You know what I found interesting was they give you like little snippets of like text info, which I absolutely love. That's like one of my love things about documentaries. And apparently in the year between 97 and 98, they allowed a documentarian to come in there and get unfiltered footage and follow them for that season, which, you know, because Carrie and I were like, wow, like they got this footage, you know, how'd they do that, blah, blah, blah. And I think that just goes to show you the work that you put into a documentary like this. You know, for years you're doing this. This was almost 21, 22 years ago.
Yeah, it was.
So it's, you know, you're getting all this stuff and putting it together, and it's a labor of love. It really is.
Yeah, it was definitely a labor of love. It's definitely well done. I mean, they even go back into their college days, youth. You learn a lot about where they grew up, who they are as people, the family structure, what made them, why did Rodman start to color his hair and be this wild guy? you learn that. You learn about what his family structure was. Like it was just it's a really well crafted documentary that deserves to be watched if you're a sports fan. And if you're not a sports fan,
it's very interesting.
It's just really well done.
Very,
and you gotta
very
remember,
well done.
the 90s the Bulls ruled the 90s, and Michael Jordan was the man. Still is the man. So, I mean, it's a really great watch. Last Dance.
I actually tuned in on Friday to a documentary about Cyntoia Brown.
Oh, yeah, you watched that, yeah.
And, you know, some of you may be familiar with her story. She was 16 years old and she was convicted of murder. I think she served about maybe 15 or 16 years.
Entire youth.
Went to college,
Yeah.
got a degree in organizational
Wrote a
leadership.
memoir.
Wrote a memoir and really championed, and then social media got behind her and started championing her case that they pardon her because she was 16 and she was also a victim of sex trafficking. And, you know, in 2004, the statutes were different. And so things had changed. And the governor of Tennessee reduced her sentence to 15 years. Yeah. It was moving. You could tell she had remorse about what she did, but you could tell that she was a changed person. She was educated. She had the ability and wherewithal to make a difference for herself. Right. And what was very interesting too was that her mother, she came from a long line of family issues and family problems.
Abuse,
mental
neglect.
Illness. Yep. And she was released in August and, you know, got married, started a life. And it was just such a beautiful story. It's a story of hope. And it was really, really good. It's on Netflix. You should check it out. I believe it's called From Murder to Mercy, Cyntoia Brown story. You guys should check it out. We're going to touch on a couple of things this week. Grace and Frankie is out. Yes! Season 6, baby. They are awesome. Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, Sam Waterston, Martin Sheen.
Yeah, you can't forget the other.
I can't forget Martin Sheen.
The show.
Yeah, the show is fantastic. It's so funny, and you have Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, two of Hollywood's icons.
Yes.
They work so great together. It's just, you want a feel-good show and you want fun and laughs, you got to check it out. Season 6 is streaming now on Netflix. It's so funny.
Listen, guys, we'll get to that and more
next week.
Check us out on our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're going to try to, throw some content up, throw some things up there, some suggestions of what you can watch and see, some movies and things like that.
Definitely.
So I'm Kyode from Scriptly Adapted.
And I'm Kate.
Later, guys.
Bye.